Together we go, Mail Day!
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Welcome to a special edition of You! Take 3. Welcome to a special edition of Mail Day! I'm Zak Meister, a multimedia artist. You can find me at zakmeister.com. And today, instead of Hans and Jacob's asses, I brought in my a special guest. Please introduce yourself to those who might not know you.
I am Brian Lally. You can find me at lolasactingschool.com. You can find me at Lola's Acting School on Facebook, Lola's Acting School on Instagram. I taught Zak when he was a sick young man, and now that he's a sick, few years older man. I came out to work with him today and have a smile on my face as if I just ingested mushrooms.
Because I probably spiked your drink with mushrooms.
Whoa. Okay, it's not what it smelled like, but...
Well, I didn't clean the shit off first. So anyways, we are doing something a little bit different. We're not actually opening and trying products. Today we're going to be reviewing a couple of movies. One that you so graciously told me to watch, and I did watch and took a lot of notes on. And then I thought it was funny to tell you to watch another movie, just because I wanted to hear your reaction on it.
Oh, okay.
These movies are American Hot Wax and Velocipastor.
Velocipastor was the one I was asked to watch, not the one I asked Zak to watch.
I know he enjoyed it thoroughly.
I have to tell you, after I realized they weren't serious about making that movie, then I understood a little more, and I did enjoy what they were trying to do, because there was some fun stuff, but it was more campy because it was pretty bad. But when I realized they were trying to be bad,
yes.
But they had the girl who played Carol. I thought she was a pretty good actress. I
yes.
forget her name now. I should know that.
I don't remember
credit.
I don't remember her name either. I'll look it up and then I'll cut that in there. So let's just get into American Hot Wax first of all. You told me to watch this movie. It wasn't at all what I was expecting.
Oh, you were expecting S&M?
No. I was expecting more like Velocipastor.
No,
I'm kidding. It wasn't a plot-driven movie. I thought it was an entirely a character study-driven movie.
Okay, all right. I won't disagree with that. I mean, I think the plot is what the character goes through, but that's okay. Okay, I won't fight you on that. As the young folks might have said 20 years ago, I ain't mad at you.
First of all, I would say the reason why I say there wasn't really a plot, and it was what it had to do with his life, but there was times when I was kind of just like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, there was no clear antagonist of the movie until the end. Spoilers, everyone. Spoilers. This movie is about Alan Freed, who was a famous disc jockey in New York or Brooklyn.
Who coined the phrase rock and roll. I believe he was originally from Cleveland.
There, you loosely get to know the characters through like small scenes. Like there is the scene when his father calls him, and he's like, "Why won't you take my money? Why do you keep sending the checks back?" And he's obviously sending money back to, I think he says Ohio or somewhere. So you figure out that Alan doesn't have a great relationship with a lot of people. Almost the entire movie, everyone's just trying to impress him and talk to him and get some kind of record deal or a radio play.
Yeah, as powerful as he is in the movie, he's very heartbroken over the conversation with his father. I think that's a very, very telling point. It's almost like James Dean in East of Eden with his father. I don't want to get long-winded, but but it's in other great movies, and we've seen it where the dad doesn't approve, and the son's fighting for his approval, but he doesn't seem like... It's nice to see the human side. He doesn't seem like that type of a character in the movie.
No,
because he's just driven, and he's just
constantly, like you said, plugged in to everything that's going on. And the parts of the movie that were my absolute favorite were in the studio when there's like all this chatting going on over here and over here, and then people come up to him like, "Hey, Alan," and then people are trying to sing to him, or all this stuff is going on, and he's so plugged into this conversation, to that conversation, and then they you notice like the Meisner work that they do, and he's at the desk writing, and then the first girl comes in. Like, oh, we're trying to make a movie, we need this movie score, and here's this and that, and then they're trying to explain the whole beach theme, and he's just like, okay, yeah, and then the other singer girl that comes in sings that famous song, and that's like when she first gets like picked up, because he's like, yeah, I love it, and he's just like rocking out to it, but he still goes on with the writing, and I thought all that kind of stuff was fantastic.
And that's, and I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly what I plugged into. It's mayhem. He goes from group of people, and he can tell exactly when he plugs in, what he does, but he's listening to every single group that he goes into. I mean, it's amazing. Tim McIntyre, who plays Alan Freed, he does a phenomenal job job, and there's so much of that going on, of him moving through groups or listening to individuals, and he stops and he really listens, and it's, it just touches me as an actor and acting teacher. Tim McIntyre was originally the son-in-law in All in the Family, but he was so out of his mind and such a hippie and a reactionary, he got fired, and he died young from drinking and drugging. He was in a movie called Brubaker. He was great in it. I just think he's a fine actor. He died too young, and people don't know about him. But I think this is truly a great performance.
There was a couple of things that I would have liked to have seen from some of the other actors as far as character development.
Right.
Luis and the Chestershires, the band. You don't really get to know any of the names or any of the band members, but they're a huge part of the story constantly. Right. And then Luis, the only real character development that you see is like she stuffs her bra because she wants to go in and like impress the record execs, and then you kind of get like hints that she and like one of the band members kind of have a thing based on how they look at each other. They have like real intimate eye contact, which I thought was kind of cool, but doesn't do anything else with that. Right. Which I would have liked to have seen, which is why I said it was mostly a character study. The whole movie is driven by acting and not by actual plot, and like those details are there, but they don't expand on them. It would actually like freeze and skip, and it wasn't the internet because everything else would work fine. There was just like the scene when she's playing the piano in the house with to her mom and dad. Right. When she starts playing, it just like froze, and then the audio was all messed up, which is a bummer because I would have liked to have known what actually happened in that scene because I wanted more of her character development and see more from her, so I didn't get to see what little bit there was.
She's based on Carole King.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was trying to figure out who she was. Right. Because her character, the Louise character in the Chestershire, seemed completely fabricated just for an couple extra characters in there.
Well, yeah, okay. I mean, I can see we say that, but basically, Carole King wrote songs for pop singers at the time, and she did write songs that black groups, black individuals sang. I mean, huge hits. Okay. And so I just, that kind of stuff gives me chills. I'm kind of corny about that kind of stuff when you see someone, and it's a glimpse into the beginning. And so that was the beginning there, and she's on the corner. You guys want to sing my song?
The ABC song, which was super 50s, corny, fun, but
and then they get up to singing for Alan Freed.
Yeah, like opening up for
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Jerry Lee Lewis and Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry.
Yeah.
With the show with opening up for Jerry Lee Lewis. The Killer.
Yeah, I love the scene when the police are all shutting it down. There's a riot going on. He's still playing up on the piano. He's just still going at it. That was awesome.
And it is, and that's like him.
Yeah,
that's like him. He didn't give a shit about nothing. He killed a couple of his wives, and he don't care.
So I want to bring up Jay Leno in this movie. Yeah. He was obviously the comedy relief for the film. Mm-hmm. Jay Leno was like this hilarious Guido pervert and was just like touching the girl's boob and stuff like that. It's weird to see a young Jay Leno to me because like at first I didn't recognize him. I was like, who the hell is he? It was the scene when they're in the car and he looks back at the secretary girl. Yeah. And you see like a good look on his face, and I was just like, oh, I could see like the cheekbones and the jaw and everything. I got that's him. He's just not fat yet.
40 plus years ago. What bothers me about Jay Leno now, when he got interviewed on Comedians in Cars with Jerry, talks about movies he was in and he really puts them down. I'm like, I don't know if he thinks it's cool to put his movies down, but I thought he did a good job. And I'm a tough critic. I'm like, hey, Jay, you did a good job in that. I don't know what other movies you're talking about, but that movie you were in, I thought you were good, and I loved the movie, and I thought you did a good job.
Well, obviously, he's talking about Ice Age.
Oh, what's that?
He was in that cartoon. He did. I guess he was a voice actor on Ice Age.
Oh, okay.
The part that I liked the most with him, they were backstage, and he's dancing with the secretary chick, and there's this one group, and they're like practicing the music.
Is he dancing with Fran Drescher? Are you talking about?
Was that her? I don't know. I don't remember the actress's name or the character's name.
The one he's hitting on all the time is Fran Drescher, who became famous with the TV show The Nanny.
Oh, I didn't. So, well, there you go. Yeah. Now you know.
Fran Drescher.
But I love the scene where they're dancing backstage until the one of the band's rehearsing, and then the band stops rehearsing. He's like, "Oh no, you guys can rehearse a little bit more before you go on, so you can continue dancing with her like a little private show." Right. I thought that whole scene was hilarious.
What about when Jay quotes Alan Freed when he turns around to her and he's like, I forget the quote, but he's like, "Hey, rock and roll will never die," or something. He turns around and he had just heard it from Alan and he gives it to her real serious, like he came up with it, and she's like, "Oh."
There are a couple of things that I really, really noticed about the movie as far as audio that I really, really enjoyed. Outside of the booth, his whole life is chaotic, loud, except when he's in the booth, and then everything is quiet except for the music, and he gets his piece in the booth, and I really, really enjoyed that, that contrast.
Yeah, he puts on a song, fires up a cigarette.
And just tunes everything out, and he's just...
Yeah, and when they're getting out, just one of those moments that you've already mentioned. So they're going into the rock and roll show, they get out of the limo, and all of a sudden they're singing there. He starts to feel the vibe, and he's listening to them, and he smiles, and you can tell he's really, really into it. Yeah, can you come by my office? It's so funny how someone like that would say to a group that's just dying to meet Alan Freed, and he says, can you come by my office?
Yeah,
and they're like,
come by tomorrow.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, can you come by my office? But the look on his face is filled with so much enthusiasm and joy, because he heard, when he hears it, he knows it.
The YouTube video, I watched it on YouTube. I don't know how you've seen it.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's never been put on VHS or DVD ever.
Yeah.
Lorraine Newman, who was playing the Carole King character, I talked to her once at an audition, and I asked her about it. And I'm sure she thought I was going to say, oh, I loved you on Saturday Night Live. I go, you're one of my favorite movies, American Hot Wax. She's like, oh.
Yeah.
And she had talked to some of the producers, and when I owned a business, one of the guys in her group, the Chesterfields, was a customer of mine.
Oh, cool.
And I asked him about it. His name was Al Chalk. He's a big-time voice guy. And I said, Al, why isn't American Hot Wax on VHS or DVD or streaming or whatever? He said he talked to some of the producers about it, and they said that they didn't get an answer. It just never got on there. So I originally watched it on local cable in the Valley years ago.
What I read online was that the movie tanked and made absolutely no money, which is maybe why they never printed it out. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I guess it did horrible in the box office, and a lot of critics didn't like it. I don't remember the name of the critic, so I'm going to quote it from Wikipedia, and you can just look up the movie on Wikipedia, but one of them said, the movie plot was so thin you could sew with it.
Well, that's so funny, because the nostalgia craze had not kicked in at that time, and I guess the people just were not into that music, because I like it. It's like Bob Dylan's book, The Dylan Chronicles. One of my favorite parts is him talking about sleeping on someone's couch in the beginning of that era. I'm always fascinated how to get started, how Dylan, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I like to see movies about the beginning of rock and roll and the fights they had, and when Alan Freed says, you can shut this down, you can shut me down, but you can stop the country, you can stop me, but you'll never stop rock and roll, which he says to the guys at the end, and that was true. I don't know, so maybe that people just weren't digging it, which I can't believe, but that's because I dig the movie and I dig music.
I think we definitely have a different appreciation for it, though, because I looked at it with the eyes of a director. You know what I mean? You look at it a lot with the eyes of an actor, and we noticed the good things about it. And I could see, if you're just a casual, movie goer and you don't do any of this kind of stuff, and it's like, I'm looking for some escapism, it's depressing. I think it's great, but I could see if you're looking for what were big movies back in the 70s, like.
Maybe you're right.
I mean, that's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, well, look, man. Obviously, it was something, man.
It was something for sure.
I sure dug it.
Yeah, that is entirely speculation. Watch American Hot Wax. Let us know in the comments what you think about it. We really enjoyed it. I hope everyone else enjoys it also. It could use some more views on YouTube. Velocipastor. What were your initial thoughts?
Enough said. My initial thought was I hated it because I thought they were trying to make a real movie. Then I realized that they were being campy.
Yes.
And so I enjoyed it for what it was. I enjoyed the ride. The woman who played Carol, the prostitute, I thought she did a good job. I thought she was very endearing. And I thought the guy, who played the main character, Father Doug, I thought he was pretty good in scenes when they just had an interaction. I really did. There was other scenes where he was supposed to act poorly, and boy, did he. And again, I asked Zach how they got Rick Baker to do that special effects makeup. So he's 7-time Academy Award winning Rick Baker, but
well, he was dying to do it.
Well,
he couldn't.
Everybody was dying in the movie. So, but the Velocipastor, when you really get to see his Barney-like outfit,
it was very Barney-like. It doesn't match with the movie poster at all. The movie poster has like Jurassic Park looking Velociraptor on it, and then you actually see it, and it's like paper mache and like bad latex.
I think it was about to say, I love you and you love me. In the park, the lighting they used on it, which was almost pitch black, really helped with the the special effects makeup.
Yes,
you couldn't see anything except an eye and a couple teeth.
That scene worked a little bit better as opposed to when he's fighting the ninjas.
So I guess the plot was that the ninjas, a lot of who were white, what they were trying to do was get everybody hooked on cocaine and then take away all the cocaine, but it was a special cocaine they made that was highly addictive, unlike the regular cocaine, which isn't addictive at all. And then they were going to cut off the population, and the population would have to go to Christianity to be saved. In the beginning, when he goes to China...
It says China.
Yeah.
No province or anything.
No, it just has to be China.
He's like, the East.
It looks like it could be in the Hollywood Hills.
I feel like all the park scenes were... He's in China, the ninja camp, all the park. It was all filmed in the same little bit of woods wherever they were at.
Well, that budget topped $65. Well, when he comes out of the church, and then he looks over and sees his parents, who just happen to be standing by their car outside the church at that moment, he has that smile on his face, and then his parents
blow up.
It
doesn't even. They don't even use the special flame effects. It just says fire special effects.
Okay, I thought I had a different version.
No, that was what they did.
Yeah, special effects of the car burning, and his parents died. But then we find out that he was killed by Frankie Mermaid.
Yeah.
Now this, I have to say, is one of the great lines in movie history, right?
Why is my name Frankie Mermaid?
Because you swim with the bitches.
Or swimming in
You're swimming in bitches.
Swimming in bitches.
Yeah. When the priest, when the guy's parents get blown up, and the older priest says to him, "Parents die, that's what they do."
That's what they do.
I'm like, oh man, what about the Vietnam scenes? What about
the wife shows up?
Yeah. The wife shows up in Vietnam and steps on a Claymore mine.
Yeah, she just blows up.
Oh my God. But not only does she blow up, she blows up like jello all over him. But they show him in Vietnam, and he's got the helmet that doesn't fit.
Yeah, it's like wait, was it too big or too small?
Three sizes too small, and it's kind of popped up on his head.
And his hair is like sticking out, and all funny. The interaction between him and Carol, when he wakes up in her bed naked, and she comes in, he thinks that they had sex, and she's like, "You turn into a dinosaur," but he doesn't know that she's talking about the dinosaur, and he's like, "Oh, was it good?" She's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Like,
Carol, the girl that played Carol, was also in an episode in The Deuce. Yeah. She had a scene in bed in lingerie with Maggie Gyllenhaal.
you can look that up.
You can look
Wink,
that
wink.
up. Carol is also adept at martial arts and can beat up ninjas.
Oh yes, they get ambushed in the apartment or the room.
Yeah, in the apartment.
They just kick the shit out of them.
They kill him. But again, I go back to this. I thought she seemed very real in that scene. I thought she, again, it was not the effects, the locations, the frocks didn't even fit right for the police. They're like, "What do you got, Joe? I got this one." Okay, you got to wear it. It's not like I haven't been involved in those productions. Let me tell you, it's hard to get a film made, and they got it made.
Yes.
A lot of people like to bag on people. I'm like, hey, they got a camera. They had $65 plus, and they made a movie.
This is not a movie you go into looking for high quality anything. This is in the line of like
smoking wax.
Getting drunk or stoned and watching a silly movie. It's a lot like the same kind of purposely bad film like Kung Fury, Italian Spider-Man, the Danger 5 from Australia. Yeah. So if you're looking for a comically bad movie, check that Velocipastor out on Amazon.
But you can see it for free. I found it for free online.
This has been the first movie review, and hopefully more to come.
Yes. I guess that was my line. Yes!
If Brian enjoys doing these,
yes,
we will do more movie reviews. I'm Zak Meister, multimedia artist. You can find me at zakmeister.com.
I am Brian Lally. I guess I am a multimedia artist, though I do not sing or rap. Brian Lally at Lola's acting school. Brian Lally actor.
Represent the Lolas, man.
That's it. Come and learn how to act. I mean, truthfully.
This has been another edition of
Mail Day! Woo! Woohoo!